Now, me, the Atma, is not Antahkaran. But what happens is, I have my prop. See, what's this? A mirror. What for? To see. So when you will look in the mirror, what do you see? You see your reflection. Now you and reflection are one or two? One time I entered in somebody's home. I was invited for a cup of tea, and as I entered, they were playing some of my bhajan, and there were little children who were watching it. The moment I entered, one of the child started shouting, "Tutu Gurumaa, Tutu Gurumaa." One in TV, one in live. Another time a child said, "Mom, is she real?" "Yeah." "Can I touch her?" "Yeah." And he actually came, and mother said, "Can my child touch you?" "What's that?" The child is saying, "Is she real?" "Yeah, sure." So he touched my cheek. "Oh, she's real." One seen in the TV, one in live. Are they two or one? Tricky question, is it? No, no. When you see the reflection is of your face. As is face, so is the reflection. But let's say, if this glass is dusty, then your reflection will be, or you will be dusty? Reflection. If there is a crack in the mirror, then is it your face which is cracked, or is it the reflection? Now your mind is like this mirror. What will this mirror reflect which is closest, right? I, the pure self, is closest to the mind. So mind reflection is formed in the mind mirror. And you think this as me, whereas it is just a reflection. Now in waking state and in dream state, your mind is up front, hence the reflection is formed, the reflection of I. You say, I saw this, I saw that. In dreams, I saw this, I did that when I was awake. Then comes the deep sleep. And in deep sleep, what happens? The mind mirror gets turned. Now no reflection is formed. Hence in deep sleep, you don't have sense of I. Do you? Once the deep sleep happens, there is no I. It's only when the sleep ends and again the mind mirror is in front and my reflection is formed in the mind, which you call now the I, the self. Are you getting this much or not? The object and the reflection are not two, but yet one, but still not one. Because the reflection is dependent on the clarity and cleanliness of the mirrors. I think so. Today is a full moon night. I think so. I'm not sure. But it's a beautiful moon out. So do go to the pond in the ashram. And then you can see this reflection of moon in the waters. But that reflection is not the real moon. If the pond water is wavy, then the moon reflection will be scattered and wavy. But if you look up, the moon is not scattered, the moon is not dusty, the moon doesn't have any twigs. But in the pond there are twigs, so it seems that the moon has twigs onto it. Mind, when receives my Atma's reflection, then this I is manifested. And this I gets infused in the mind and the buddhi and the chitta and the ahankara, and also in your senses of knowledge and action. So when the senses were seeing, the reflection said, I am seeing. When pain occurred in the mind, the false self said, I am in pain. Let's say, I'm wearing this nice sari. If the sari gets, a nail hooked into it and the sari gets torn, is it the sari which gets torn or is it me who will get torn? But I saw one lady, she was all dressed up, all ready to hit the dance floor, and as she rushed towards the dance floor, her sari got hooked up into the nail and it had a big tear. And when she saw that tear, she started crying out loud, I'm a margi. And everybody was saying, well, you're not dead. The deep identification and association with the dress. The dress was torn, not she, but she is crying like what? A child? When you associate yourself with the mind, then pain and sorrow and happiness and misery and pleasure occurs in the mind, but you think that it is happening in you. Why? Because of this false association with the ego. False association with the mind and intellect and chitta. Now what is this mind, intellect, chitta and the ego? They are the part of the antahkaran, and antahkaran is part of subtle body. Antahkaran is part of subtle. Are you with me, all of you? Himali and Jita, are you with me? Megan, are you with me? Are you getting Sahib? Good. Lippy? Good. Be with me. See, this is not Ramji's story which you all know. This is something very unusual. Your mind will get boggled up. What she's speaking. It is all about you only. Now the subtle body constituents are the apanchikrit, 5 great elements which have formed the subtle body. The elements which have not undergone the panchikarana as explained earlier are called the apanchikrit. Simple would be apanchikrit means undivided. When the division happens, then it's called panchikaran. When division is not happened, it's called So the 5 great elements or the subtle elements and the same are also called the tanmatra, the 5 tanmatra, the sound, the smell, all that. Now the attributes of the subtle body. Just for your help, this slide is there, you can see. Number one, very important. It acts as the doer of actions and bearer of their fruits. Who did pap? The sin. Hand? Did the hand do it? Say somebody murdered. So the murderer is the hand. The murderer is his senses all the time. Huh? No. The murderer is the mind or chitta or the ego. Or we'll have to take the whole subtle body and we can say, he did it. You know, see, those people who never understood the functioning of the mind, those people, they even today have this sense of judgment that if you do a theft, they'll chop your hands. Even now. There are these countries still. If you do murders, they don't have any courts. Straight away, the person is beheaded. A woman was raped in this country, and the rapist was excused, and the raped woman was persecuted and put into jail by saying, you incited the man. So if you do theft, they'll chop off your hands. They say your hands did the dirty job, so we chop it off. But should they chop off the hands or should they chop off the mind? Huh? Logically speaking, who? But now they have no way to understand the mind. They only understand hands. So if you do the theft, they'll chop off your hands. If you give a bad or ugly look or lustful look to someone, or they'll gouge off your eyes. Is the eyes the culprit or is the mind the culprit? Are you seeing the difference? The civilizations who could not understand the difference in between functioning of the mind and action being done by the body, they kept on punishing the bodies. And they never gave this thought that that particular mind should have been punished. Well, now that's a very intelligent thing to do. Our country, Bharat, has understood the subtle body, the mind in such a detail that no other civilization comes even closer. And if you wish to know more about the mind, then I have already given my talks on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Please go through that. Our Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, chapter 16, 17, 18, gives in-depth understanding of what mind is, how it functions, what it does. But this subtle body is what? It is the propeller of all the sinful or great virtuous actions. And it also bears the fruit of these actions. You shall reap what these shall sow. Who is the sower? Subtle body. Who will reap? Subtle body. So when I am saying subtle body, I hope now you have a very clear view about the components of the subtle body. Let's repeat. 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 pranas, and 4 antahkarana. Altogether 19. But if we say just mind and intellect, then it will become 17. It is the medium through which one experiences happiness and sorrow. In absence of subtle body, there is no happiness. A dead man has no happiness or sorrow. So that's why sometimes when people are very upset, they say, it's better I should die. They think that's a solution. And they commit suicide. When somebody commits a suicide, they kill who? Gross body. But who was suffering? Subtle body. But they don't know how to chop off the subtle body. So they end up killing the subtle body is still going to be there. And now because you have dishonored the life given to you, it is said that then the next body will not happen easy. You will rot in your own rotten mind. Where is the hell and where is the heaven? It is in your mind. Please don't think there is a hell and heaven up above in the sky or in the stratosphere somewhere. No. Hell and heaven is in your mind. Hell would be like a nightmarish projections created by your mind, and heaven would be projections of your own mind. It's like having a very good dream. A person was saying, I had a beautiful dream. I was with this dream girl in a boat. We are enjoying the boat ride in a moonlit night. And she was singing songs to me and fed me those black grapes. And as I was enjoying that moment, I tried to catch a grape with my mouth. And then a very crashy voice of my mom said, "Uth ja, get up." Oops. Good Lord, it was just a dream. And he yelled at his mother, "Why couldn't you wait for another 5 minutes? I would have had the most enjoyable thing of my life." Because my dream girl was going to feed the grape through her mouth. And why did you wake me up? For that person, this was a heaven. You know, now in the Buddhist scriptures, the heaven is filled with warm air. But in Hindus' heaven, it is a cold air. You know why? Most of the Buddhists, especially the Tibetan Buddhists, they are in that minus 30-degree zones. So cold air is a hell for them. What is heaven for them? Warm air. But the person who is in India, Bharat, so much hot and humidity, what is the best time? Cool air. So the Hindus' heaven is having cool air. How come? Is it the same heaven, or the Hindus have a different heaven and Buddhists have different heaven? In other religion, people have their different heavens. If you read their scriptures, whatever desires they had or ideas they had, that's enjoyable, that became part of their heaven. Indians love dancing. So, in Hindus' heaven, there is Menuka and Ramba. Still, God knows for how many ages they are doing the dance, same dance, same dance. Projections of the mind. Hell and heaven in your mind. So the happiness and the sorrow is experienced by the subtle body, and it transmigrates between different planes of existence. Now, let's say, what are the different planes of existence? 3 stages. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Jagrat, waking state. Pay attention to me, don't look here and there. There's some lost people, they're reading something, good Lord. Waking state, dream state, and the sound sleep, Sushupti. The subtle sharir experiences these 3 states. In a waking state, the objects are gross. In dream state, the objects are all subtle. And in deep sleep, there is none. Not gross, not subtle. And this dark zone where this ego is not functioning, mind is not functioning. But this deep sleep is experienced by the self directly. So mind and intellect are not functioning in this state. And the ego and the chitta are the silent, non-functioning domain. They are not functioning at that time. Now, who moves from one stage to another, from deep sleep to dream to waking? It's not the dream when you are sleeping, you dream. Even when you are wide awake, when you are lost in your dreams, we call it daydreaming. Do you do that? Daydreaming? Actually, you do all the time. All the time. Thinking about future, thinking about past, obsessing about things, obsessing about people. I've seen, one time I was traveling in a metro in London. They call it tube. I don't know why, but they call it a tube. It isn't a tube, it's a train, but they call it tube. And I saw this lady who was sitting on a seat, and she's just talking and talking to herself. And she was not the only one person. That day I saw scores of men and women. They are lost in themselves, they are talking to themselves, they are having this monologue, they are raising the question and answering also. And, oh my God. Your mind, in the old times we had those LP records, and it had this tiny needle. If you place it on, sometime that needle would get stuck on the record. Then it would play the same thing again and again and again and again. So people's mind needle gets stuck sometimes in some past event, and it's going again and again and again on the same thing, repeating the same thing, repeating. Why did he say this to me? 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 Somebody needs to whack this person. Wake up. Who experiences this? It is the subtle body. If I sum it up, your all waking state, your dream state, and your sound sleep state are experienced by the subtle body, and know this 19 constituent of the subtle body is not you.